everybody. Welcome to another episode of What You Doing Podcast, the interview podcast where we talk to cool people about the amazing things that they're working on. My name is Matt. For this episode, I took a little bit of a chance on social media, and I'm very glad that I did. This week, I'm getting to sit down with our first video game developer, Anna Hollinrake, the creative director at Electric Saint Studios, making Crescent County live now on Kickstarter. We don't talk about video games a lot on the show, but I'm very into the indie video game scene in the same way that I am the indie TTRPG scene. And the initial trailer for Crescent County immediately blew me away. And to see the incredible response on the Kickstarter, I was like, I would love a chance to talk to Anna about the whole thing. And that's what we're here to do today. This episode took longer to get out than I wanted. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Anna. I'm sorry to everybody. Sometimes life happens, and it is what it is. I've got some updates for y'all, but as always, we'll handle that in the outro. So let's get into it. Double check. I was going to double check and then I forgot. Is it Anna or Anna? Anna. Okay. I wanted to double check because
sounds good.
A very important part of interviewing people, I've heard, is getting their names right.
Yeah, I mean, it's at least one of the three most important things, I would say. So
be there.
Yeah.
Get their name right. Remember to wear pants.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like any of those three
don't fall
things.
asleep in the middle, and then
that's a good one.
Yeah, and don't drink like lots of cans of Diet Coke and then burp loudly, which is always an issue for me. So
I do skip my regular lunch seltzer on the days that I have an interview because I'm I'm not gonna risk it. It's too it's fine.
I have one of those fizzy water maker things, and it's new and it's novel, and so I'm just like necking like 2 liters of fizzy water minimum a day. So I'm just
it's a good way to make you drink water, though.
It is. It's very novel. It's got like a big kind of like crank handle thing, and I don't know. It's angry water. It's great.
Angry water. Hi, everybody. Welcome to What You Doing Podcast, the interview podcast where I talk to cool people about the amazing projects that they're working on. Today, I'm sitting down with Anna. Anna, say hello.
Hello, my name is Anna Hollinrake. I'm the creative director at Electric Saint, and I'm here to talk about Crescent County today. That is what I am doing.
We answered the question. You're the first person to phrase it so perfectly to answer the question. There's a question
in the title, and I'm here to provide answers. Not sure what else, but that's what I'm going to do today.
I love it. No, it's a great energy to bring. Like, I'm ready for questions. Let's go. I think you're going to do really great in the quiz round. Let me tell you.
Oh God. Oh no.
How funny would that be if I just like hit a button and it changed a scene and there's like a Family Feud board?
I would love that. So much. I do PowerPoints for fun, and like little like voting paddles, that kind of thing. I've put them together. My D&D party, we had a celebration birthday thing where we did a quiz of our characters, and we each got those little buzzers that you can record a tiny audio clip on. It was carnage. It was great.
That sounds great. That sounds really good. I don't even know what I would do. I don't even know.
You say it to you.
Yeah.
The thing is, you have to weird that you're really like enjoying doing, that you need to tell people about in kind of like a trapped audience kind of way. The initial for us doing PowerPoints was because I keep a spreadsheet of all of the mince pies that I've eaten in the lead up to Christmas. I rate them. Like I rate them on like pastry sturdiness, flavor, alcohol, overall festive experience. And then I was like, well, I need to distill down all of this data. And so I made literal pie charts. It was great.
So when did you receive your ADHD diagnosis?
In 2021, actually.
Crushed it. Nailed it.
Yeah. It's surprising no one. My brain goes fast and in a lot of different directions.
See, though, it's every every neurospicy person listening to this was like, I like this. Yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah. Spreadsheet on pies with a time focus. Yeah. I love this.
Yeah. I was able to like filter it as well. Like I have just enough Excel knowledge, well, it's Google Sheets, to be able to like make it look nice and be able to like filter bits and pieces. Can't do more than that. Like when I got into the actual maths, I did it completely the wrong way around. Yeah, it was a delightful time. And yeah, do PowerPoints with your other neurodivergent
yeah,
friends.
do have PowerPoint parties. There was somebody on Blue Sky that was shitting on PowerPoint parties, and I was like, no, you're mean. No, you're a mean girl. Get out of here. Let people have their fun.
Yeah, I mean, I remember very vividly being on like a Windows 98 computer with like a trial version of Encarta Encyclopedia, and there was this you could make little presentations. The number of presentations that I forced my parents to sit through about birds or whatever like limited video clips that they had, I exhausted every single fucking font in that presentation software. Like whoever put that in, I don't think they ever were expecting like, I don't know, an enthusiastic 9-year-old that can't shut up to really maximize every drop from Encarta Encyclopedia demo version.
Dave, how was your weekend? It was great. My child gave us a presentation on the differences with North English migratory birds. It was it was really enlightening, actually. I learned a lot.
Yeah. But my God, I didn't get to sleep. She just kept talking about birds. Like it wouldn't stop.
Yeah. So what else did you do? No, that was the weekend. That was
everything. Yeah.
That was most of Sunday.
Yeah. That's how it be.
There's no segue from that, so I'm not going to try.
No.
So we're going to talk about
games.
Yeah, so video games. Sometimes I've said this before. Sometimes you just got to go, oh well, the next thing.
Anyway,
yeah. So we're here to talk about Crescent County, your upcoming video game that just annihilated on crowdfunding. It's very exciting to see.
It's been wild. It's been absolutely wild. It's I recorded a little clip of when we were getting close to potentially getting over the line, and I just didn't expect it to pop off in the way that it had. So yeah, very exciting. Can't quite believe it. I should probably do an intro about what Crescent County is, because otherwise no one's going to know what I'm talking about. Crescent County.
That would be the next one. Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah. It's I'm preempting. So Crescent County, it's kind of like if you imagine Kiki's Delivery Service on souped up motorbike witches brooms on a rural solar punk witch tech island. It's a single player narrative, hand painted, stylized open world game where you're playing as this character Lou, who has moved to the island under kind of like mysterious circumstances and falls in with a group of motor broom enthusiasts. It's a very similar punk subculture to something like roller derby, where the ley lines under the island power these motor brooms, as well as things like the Laytech power company that runs all of the ley line turbines that float overhead. It's a game that's currently crowdfunding on Kickstarter. It's coming to Steam and Xbox. We've got a demo available on Steam right now. And it's a game that very much comes from the heart. It's something that I've been building this world for since 2017. I got way too much creative freedom way too early in my career, where I got to do my whole like generalist arty art pipeline from start to finish, and I've been chasing that high ever since. So I knew that I wanted to go indie, but I've been in the industry for about over 10 years now, and I knew that I didn't have the right bits of knowledge yet. So, I've slowly been there kind of putting little bits of knowledge about art direction and pitching and marketing and leadership and stuff just in my little bag, and then back in late 2022, we went indie and we started making Crescent County after I'd been like, painting my illustrations and concept art and just making bits and pieces just for fun, really. For years. I've been selling my work at Comic-Cons as well, and that was a really big driver to do this because people would always be like, oh, I want to live in your paintings. And I was like, well, let's make that happen. And yeah, we've been working on Crescent County for about, I say 2.5 years, but a lot of that has been part-time, work for hire to keep the lights on. We've got some grant money for it, but it's something that is very much like a passion project. And we eventually got to the point where we were like, look, the publishers are not signing new projects. It's really, really hard to get money as an indie right now. And I'd done a Kickstarter before. It was for like some apparel, but that had gone really well. I really love making physical merch as well. And I was like, you know what? I think let's gonna do like someone I called it Anna Hollinrake's last Gabe Room witch stand, because it was like, cool, like if this doesn't, if people don't want it, then that's kind of that. But thankfully people do want it, so we hit our initial funding goal in 22 hours and 37 minutes. Which is wild. Not
shocked the exact time. Honestly, not shocked at all. Not surprised.
Leave me be. Let me be particular about this one thing. But yeah, so that has been amazing, and that's. Once again, that's what I'm doing. So.
Well, there we go. That's the show, everybody. Thanks for listening.
There we go. Let's wrap it up. No, I've got. I let me keep talking. I want to keep talking.
No, please keep going. Yeah. Please let me keep going. I had a chance. I sat down and played the demo yesterday.
Thank you.
And it's very funny how quickly with indie games will go from in your purview, like not existing. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, I don't know anything about this game. This game doesn't exist as far as I know. To holy shit, what an amazing game. Where is it? Where's it going? You know what I mean? and Crescent County was one of those for me where it was like I'd never heard anything, and then I forget you were on an indie showcase or something. Like it was definitely part of something.
Yeah,
and then,
we've had like a few.
And it was just like I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like this looks fantastic. And I think a lot of that is, the benefit of having, drawn it for so long. Everything would look great if you worked on it for 5 years. When you started doing all of this, all of the drawings and arts and stuff like that in 2017, was it just, I like this vibe, and so I'm going to do art like this? Was it with the intention of it being some sort of shared project eventually, maybe not a video game, but like, oh yeah, I'm drawing this to specifically build out a thing? Or is it just like, oh, I drew some witches and hey, wait a minute, let's keep drawing these witches?
So I feel like I've been moving in this kind of direction for a year or two. Like I had these very specific things that I loved to draw, these Ghibli-esque environments that were a little bit like stacked on top of each other and tumble down, slightly like Barcelona inspired flats with plants on them and telephone wires crisscrossing across them, or slightly fantastical forms of transport, like a tram that goes through water in a very kind of Studio Ghibli Spirited Away kind of vibe. But I also was very into things like Vespers and Honda Super Cubs and like chunky, satisfyingly, shaped forms of transport that have something very analog about them, something very tactile about them. Like I love I grew up watching, you know, a lot of Star Wars, and I think that like that really scuffed up sort of sci-fi really appealed to me. And whilst like Lord of the Rings was like the core of my personality as a child, watching those films, I still had this kind of very strong love for anything that was just had a lot of history baked into it, that was kind of like a little bit grubby and felt like it had been like lived in and loved. So I was doing a lot of that kind of scene making, but I had this moment of like sci-fi fantasy crossover where it's not that complicated. I just stuck a bike handle on a broom and then I was just doodling, and I was like, oh, it'd be cool if they're like making deliveries. Oh, it's Kiki's delivery service. And then I just kind of kept pushing with like the fashion that I really like to draw, with like the brightly colored like pink and purple cropped bomber jackets, for example. And I had this one piece and I was like, ha, motor broom, and then it's like it just locked itself in my brain. And it was like everything fell into place, and I just became really annoying and obsessive. Like I was like, I haven't seen anyone else doing that. This is cool. So I just kind of couldn't stop drawing them. I wasn't necessarily drawing any characters, but it was more the world building, like the concept of like witch tech, I guess, like, and also this early noughties chunky tech that's like kind of sits around it. I've got like at Comic-Con, one of my friends made this. It's like a customized Sony Sport CD player. Sorry for audio medium, but it's like a early noughties chunky tech kind of. I'm saying the same thing, but it's got like those big tactile Apple Mac-esque buttons and painted in retro colors. So I just really love that. But moving forward from that, I also been doing art to 3D environment art to assembling an engine games pipeline that I'd been working on for a bit at that point. And I was like, this would be really nice to do, you know, on this project maybe. And about a year and a bit later, about a year later, I got the BAFTA Breakthrough Brit honoration thing for my work on a game, and also doing like a lot of speaking on burnout and mental health in games. And I ended up meeting some people through that who are like, oh, we could maybe make like a zine or something, like like an AR zine. And I was like, oh, that could be really cool. So there were these beginnings, these kind of like light flutterings of different project directions. Like I briefly tried to make it a comic, but I suck at sequential art. I'm really, really bad at it. I get bored. Like I definitely have different kinds of like satisfaction from different kinds of work. Like I used to want to be a character artist, and then environment art just became so much more. It was like, I don't know, this is an odd way to put it, but doing like a character design to me feels like eating a bag of crisps, whilst doing like a really in-depth kind of lush environment feels like a big 4-course meal in terms of like satisfaction when I step back from it. So and I think that to some degree has been my weakness as well when it comes to talking about the game, because I talk about the world and I don't talk about the characters as much, because I'm like, wow, motorbike brooms, that's exciting. People are like, what are the characters like? And I'm just like, but it's this. Can you not see this is reference it? Yeah, so
what do you care? You can do drifts. Don't worry about the characters.
Yeah. So I mean, like I've kind of like, you know, spent a good chunk of time developing the characters now, but I think when it was initially trying to figure out the world, I wasn't really thinking about recurring characters. It was more just like the delight of exploring what it could be. So yeah, and then I was just playing with it'd be nice to make a character model. and it'd be nice to build a motor broom and see what that's like. And then I just use them for like little one-off art projects. But like I was also thinking about like over time, I was like, I really want to make a motor broom courier game. Like I just think that would be really cool. But the scope of it didn't seem feasible. So, you know, I thought about what would it look like as a 2D game. But nothing ever really like I would experiment a little bit and just dip my toe in the water. But it just didn't really feel right. And then it wasn't until one of my friends who hilariously, we learned how to ride motorbikes like 2-3 years earlier. Like very serendipitously, but we'd done a lot of like collaborations and like we'd done like a short story writing course together. So we'd had that kind of creative back and forth already. And he's a programmer and he was, you know, available, and we were like, oh, maybe we should try and do this. So yeah, that's kind of how things started. And it really helped that I'd had this really long run up and like rumination time, because it takes such a while to firm up what you want. But now, like, I know exactly what I'm looking for a lot of the time in terms of like music vibes, and UI, and I can usually do like a rough approximation of something like UI, and then, you know, someone can come in and do an actual, you know, the specialized version of that. But the fact that there's this very defined tone, and I've made a billion playlists, and I've walked around like laps around my local park trying to solve problems. It means that I think we can be very focused about what we're trying to make. And I've had people say that as well, like that there's such a clear identity, and even though there's all these weird disparate elements are kind of odd, like and can be quite difficult to communicate as well. Like the fact that it's half lo-fi and then half like alt rock punk, you know, they're different vibes, but I think they sit together well because of the uptime and downtime of the game. You know, you're making deliveries by day, you're street racing by night. And I think that that can only really come about by having a very specific clarity of idea. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's all sunshine and roses. Like there are so many things that we are going to have to, you know, work out to a much better degree. Like, for example, when you're selecting the jobs that you want to do at the beginning of a day, I'm not really happy with how we're doing that right now. It's a bit board gamey, and it doesn't allow for wandering off. And I don't want to punish someone for wandering off and exploring. So there's, I suppose, those kind of more systemsy things aren't like as firmed up, but those are like practical design problems. And I think that when it comes to things like tone, mood, like movement, like that kind of, I suppose it's slightly more like wavy handsy, because it's harder to communicate, you know, the drifting needs to feel crunchy and, you know, a bit exploitable, but in a fun way. Like, people have been like, oh, you know, you can kind of rinse the drifts a bit. And I'm like, yeah, but it makes you feel cool. And they're like, yeah, it does. So like, yeah, that's kind of the fun.
Yeah, but if you do it, it's fun.
Exactly. And yeah, there's still, you know, stuff to be figured out. But I think that that clarity of tone is really helped when you've just been sat thinking about making this game for so long.
I love the answer you just gave, because what you did was answer like 4 questions.
I'm sorry.
Like no, it's great. No, it's really good, it's really good and then like a little bad because it's like, oh, there's a great font. Nope, we're right through it. No, that's fine. No, that's good. That's what. No, that's what we should do. That's correct. Yeah. That's correct. That's what we should be doing.
You need a buzzer to be like, Anna, shut up. No, stop it. Stop it. You're jumping ahead. You're jumping ahead.
It's fun. It's the fun. It's just very funny. I've had some interviews where like, I've written stuff down and I ask one of those questions and I'm just like, all right, well, we did that one too. And and then there's that one. Okay. That's fine. There we go.
Yeah. Do I get a bingo? Like, do you,
yeah, like I said, we're gonna throw it to the board.
Yeah.
God, I can't get over the idea of just in the middle of it, just like taking out one of those little skinny like microphones and like, all right, let's get the board in. And
and like suddenly you just spin round and you're wearing like a very shiny like floral suit jacket, like a blazer, you know.
Just put on just pull a blazer from off screen and
exactly.
The magic of video, you don't know what's over here. It could be anything over here.
I don't. Yeah, it could be 12 shiny polyester blazers.
there's 3 people ready for the costume change for the second part of the podcast.
I never would have doubted you actually.
It's not. It's the kitchen. No. Sorry to ruin the illusion for everybody.
It's fine. No, I'm choosing to believe it's 12 polyester blazers all on a rail. Sequence.
One of those wheelie costume rails, and I just have to decide by the time we get there.
Yeah, and it's all so flammable.
It's dangerous. It's kind of dangerous to keep them that close together. They'll just explode.
One spark. Oh.
We really shouldn't. I think it's illegal in California to keep all of these next to each other, so we should. We got to get a second one and kind of space these out.
Smart.
I like what you said about the music. I really enjoyed in the game the little pop-up that was like, hey, if you want more music, check out our playlist. And I think it's really interesting. You were like, yeah, it's weird that there's like alt rock and lo-fi next to each other in some ways. And I was like, I remember playing Tony Hawk, and Tony Hawk, Tony Hawk would very seamlessly mix from like alt rock to metal to like rap. And like it all it's about matching the tones to each other. And if you have a well-constructed playlist, they'll all be in the same sort of sonic environment.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And Tony Hawk is a really big inspiration, both like for that kind of tone setting. No, not exactly setting, but like
I'm excited for the school level.
Do it. Yeah. But that, like skating is I'd say a similar subculture to like motor broom racing. But also I love how Tony Hawk acted as like a vehicle for music discovery for so many people. And like ideally, I would love to be like the dream is to be able to like do that. Depends how much music we'll be able to get. We've hit our first stretch goal, which means that we can get more, which is really nice. Like we really want it. Like I really want to like license like upcoming bands and local bands and everything, and try to just share more of the really cool music that is out there through the game, because that'd be really nice. But you're right that matching the tone is so important, and there's a few things that I'm thinking about, specifically like the BPM and the almost like the rhythmic nature of a driving song. Like you kind of have to have like a like it needs to have momentum. And like I feel like the songs that we've chosen do kind of hit that, have a little bit of like that kind of moving forward. And also I think with a lot of my work, like this kind of like it's happy, joyful with a slight little twinge of melancholy. And I think that's like, it's like, oh, it's bright and it's high, it's lovely. But like there's a little bit of like nostalgic ennui, like sitting just behind the curtain, and so I think that's quite a like delicious feeling that I'm trying to conjure as well. So yeah, once again, just wavy hands bullshit. Like,
what are you going?
Yeah.
Here,
yeah. Like, oh my god,
just a lot of you
director, Hollinrake,
motioning at a mood board. So it's like this, and then like here, and then
yeah.
What was your experiences like? Pre affirming that this was going to be a video game, right? So like between 2017 and let's say like 2022, I think you said.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, okay. There was more to the question. I'm sorry. What was your experience with like just selling the art at Comic Cons and showing it to people? Because I think I think a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of the success of this is sort of based on that, but I'm very curious in the ways that the interactions that you had with people during that time sort of, it feels like it was like, oh yeah, like you said at the beginning, like this is going to be the decider on whether or not this is a thing or not.
Yeah. I mean, it was fundamental, really, the Comic Cons especially. I think as a creative person, I exist in a lot of different spaces, and that has been both to like aid in my success in also kind of to my detriment in that people don't know what I do. And I mean, I don't know what I do half the time anyway. I like too much stuff. I do too many things. And it's great. And it's also overwhelming. But in 2017, I was working down in Portsmouth at Climax Studios. I was, doing the kind of entire art generalist pipeline, working on a game, this tiny little VR game that gave me too much creative freedom, and I adored it, even though no one played it, called Lola and the Giant. And I also got to do like a concept of 3D to engine on Adventure Time, Pirates of the Enchiridion. And like that was when I'd done a bit of streaming, but also my games career was really kind of starting to take off in terms of visibility, because I had started doing talks. I was constantly on trains up to events to just like try and meet people. And then I had like the BAFTA breakthrough stuff, and that made me want to move to London. And so I started working at a indie startup there. And so I was working on a variety of team sizes and projects, but I was really kind of trying to yell and be visible on game dev Twitter. So I was like building a little bit of visibility there, and I was also sharing a lot of my art as well. I think between 2017 to 2019, I was really kind of yelling about Motor Room stuff. Oh, wouldn't this be fun? And I already had a couple people saying like, oh, I wish this was a video game. I kind of like burned out of games for a little bit, and I jumped into animation. And that was really fun because it was like a very tangible leadership point for me, because I was art directing in like beforehand I'd done art direction, but I was like a senior, and so I actually had like a proper team, and that was really cool. But it like I missed the tech of games. I really missed like the weird reinvention of the wheel that you kind of have to do every time. But it also taught me a lot about presentation and animation and cutting things nicely to time. And I went back to games and was a principal artist at Mediatonic, heading up new game pitches. And I realize I've completely skipped the Comic-Con question, but I will come back to it. So I...
Nice winding road. You're going up and you're going down. And
look, there's a pond. And some trees, and we could appreciate them together. Let me get the bird presentation back out. But yeah, so and like I feel like I'd just been existing in so many different spaces. Like I was doing talks, Anna, and I was art, like concept art, Anna. Like I'd come up in concept art spaces, but now I was kind of like interacting with design people as well, and more kind of like leadership and mental health, and then working at Mediatonic. And then moving on to Fall Guys. I was the creative services art lead on Fall Guys for a bit. I got to see the more kind of marketing and business side of stuff. And I feel like because of that, like people would be like, wait, Anna, you can 3D model? And I'm like, yeah, I did it professionally for a while. Like, it's not, I'm not amazing. Like, I'm like, I'm so average. But, you know, I'm very much a believer in having something there and curating a scene rather than having like super polished assets. But I'd existed in a bunch of these different spaces already. And then when it came to Comic-Con, I'd started tabling. Because once again, I came up in the concept art and slightly illustration-y scene. An illustrator that I met on Twitter invited me to like hop onto her table, and I just loved playing shop. It was great fun. So I got into MCM London Comic-Con, which I'm so grateful for, back in 2018. And that was just amazing. Like it was directly talking to people that got what I was trying to do, that really loved my work, and I could talk to them and tell them about my ideas, and they'd be excited about it. And I also met more people through the illustration scene there too. And that's like its own community. And the fact that I've been doing them like regularly since has resulted in, you know, being able to like test the kind of pitches that like not really on purpose, but, you know, realizing that people really like the idea of Kiki's delivery service meets the bikes of Akira. People are like, oh my God, sick. And I'm like, yes, it does. Play my video game. So that was a really amazing opportunity to just see what worked, and I could see such a clear audience, and I wanted to make it for them. And I think also, like, I've raised myself on the internet. I grew up in a lot of fandom spaces, and I'm on Tumblr like every single day. I love it so much, and there's.
I don't want to nod too strongly on that. That might come across insulting. I don't want to be like, like, no, that's. What do you mean? What do you mean? You're agreeing too hard. Yeah.
That's like you're just judging me to the core. For my Tumblr blog is Carnage, but it's I think it's just, you know, a bunch of weird artsy kids that have strange senses of humor, and I feel very seen and accepted in that space. But I think that I don't think the Kickstarter would have gone nearly as well as it had if I hadn't spent, you know, the years that I have in game spaces, just doing a lot of like talks and chatting to people and telling them about my ideas. And just, I think half of the UK games industry has had a sticker, like just me just being like, would you like a motor broom sticker? Here you go. And to the point where I think like half of them that are backing the project are just doing it so that I'll shut up.
Fine, just I'm so grateful.
I'm fully aware that I'm very annoying about this, but you have to be to get anything made. And then, you know, there's the people in the concept art spaces and the Comic-Con spaces as well, who are also aware of it, and have been really supportive. You know, they've been drawing Crescent Sonars as well, which I love this. Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool. Which have, you know, sprung up from like Crescent County. What is your Witch Tech version? What is your Motor Broom version of you, or like one of your OCs? And I think that also comes from a very yes and Tumblr culture as well. And then finally, like, you know, the people that have bought my art and have it in their houses, like, we were just at MCM Comic Con. We had a booth for the first time. Like, I've always just been in Artist Alley, and we were demoing the game, you know, with my own controller and my own TV from my house.
Like, please don't break the controller. That's mine.
No, I was very much just like, this is my beloved controller that I designed to match the demo, because I've never been relaxed about anything in my life. Please, little child, do not break the left stick. But it was fine. And I think, like, having that kind of full circle moment of people coming by and being like, wait a second, I have that windmill print in my house. That's what's in my living room. And then they look and they see the screen and they're like, what the fuck? It's a video game. And they were like, I remember you telling me about this like 4 years ago. And I'm like, right. Like,
remember when you said you wanted to be a video game? Here you go. $20. Yeah, let's go.
Exactly. That's basically it. That's 100%.
Here's the jar.
Yeah. So I think that just the sheer dogged persistence and like the number of spaces that I've kind of been in has really helped. It's kind of wild. It's very wild, and I'm very grateful, and I'm really excited to not have to do biz dev anymore. Like, I'm not a great biz dev. I'm all right. I can chat to people. I love a chat, but it doesn't necessarily fill me with delight when I'm having to send a billion emails to people that probably aren't going to give us any money. And that's taken up so much of our time. So yeah, to kind of take it directly to the people that I've always wanted to take it directly to, rather than having to do this, you know, more traditional route that I thought was the only option forward for a really long time, is really exciting.
No, I love that. And I going into this, like, I had the sort of image in my brain of like, how funny would it be if someone like bought a print in like 2018 and then is just walking down.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Yep. Yeah. That's basically it. Like,
which is great. That's what you want.
Yeah, completely. Like, I'm sentimental. I'm so sentimental, and so, you know, like, even though booths at MCM are so much money, I was like, cool. It's probably going to be the last booth, like the last kind of, well, probably the only booth that I do, because it was like me as Anna Hollinrake of Anna Hollinrake's art prints. And, you know, hopefully if we do a booth in the future, it will be like, this is Electric Saint, and we've published the game. You know,
the actual company with the game. Look at this.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than just like me selling my art prints and stickers and being like, look, there's also my television.
My television.
It's very freeing now that I've been quite open about the fact that because when we did the initial studio announcement, like back in 2023, I put loads of effort into it looking like super professional and like sharp. And I think people thought we were a lot bigger than we are, and that we had like investment and stuff. And now it's just, I'm so sorry, we are just little guys. We are indies. You know, we've got a bunch of experience, but we're not like backed by, you know, massive investment or anything. And there is something very freeing about being open about that, you know, because I was so worried that it would hurt us, that we wouldn't look like cool and competent enough for like a big publisher to you know, but actually just getting to be an authentic kind of weirdo is a lot better for the soul. So yeah.
I think that's what people want in 2025. I think people are like you. I was a little late starting the recording, so I don't know if it might get cut. Whatever. We were talking at the beginning where, kind of the problem with social media with doing this sort of thing nowadays is, in some ways, the algorithm is just not interested in pushing those sorts of posts and that sort of interaction anymore. I also have the theory that after 2 decades or more, almost 3, of like the internet being a thing, I think people have gotten really good at knowing when they're being sold to. Yeah. And that's mainly because advertisements have gotten more and more insidious and more just everywhere in your life. There's a great clip from my Twitch stream where I'm eating a yogurt. It's one of these burned into my brain moments for the rest of my life. I'm eating a yogurt and I take the lid off the yogurt, and on the underside of the lid of the yogurt is an ad for the company's iced coffee.
No.
Right? And that's one of those.
Every inch of your eyeballs is maximized.
Right. And no, I can't just exist and eat the yogurt that I bought. I bought your yogurt. No. It's like, but what if you had some of our delicious iced coffee? And I was like, what if you leave me the hell alone?
Yeah, get out of my face. No, I completely agree. And it's so difficult because I remember seeing a musician that I really like who was posting their gig, an event that was coming up, and they were saying, these used to get shared. People used to, want to share this stuff, and it just doesn't. And I think part of it is this fear of just constantly being sold something, but also this I don't know, like asking for stuff is kind of like scary and vulnerable and sometimes kind of a bit embarrassing. And I think people are and it's not as like kind of aesthetic, I suppose, and like we have to perform these very curated lives, and it's really difficult to just convince people to share stuff sometimes. And I do think that like we're all just on guard because every ounce of our existence is being for advertising revenue, and I think that probably part of the reason why we've done well is because I've been doing this stuff just very, very obviously, and for free. Like I think there's no doubt that it's a passion project, right? Like there's no doubt that it's something that is coming from the heart. It is, it's really quite dumb, all things considered, to be trying to make an indie game in 2025, but it's important and it's valuable and it's art that we need to make. But I think. Sorry, I just suddenly panicked and I'm like, there's the headline. It's dumb to make an indie game in 2025.
Anna Hollinrake says making video games is dumb.
Yeah. Oh boy. Off we go. But I think that this has become very, very rambly. Sorry.
I told you not to be sorry about it. I said
no. I think I'm lacking precision in what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm getting annoyed with myself. I think that we have been able to communicate like quite honestly about how things are going, and it's been pretty raw as well. I've been open about the fact that like being rejected so many times, being ghosted so many times, like it just made me feel like such a failure for ages, but I had to do this performance of success because I thought that was what the game scene wanted from me, and I was, just pretzeling myself up into uncomfortable shapes to be that. But that's not actually true. And I think that a lot of the just really amazing indies that are being open and honest about things, which is something that I used to do a lot of. Like, I was pretty open on social media about stuff. And I think as I spent more time in industry, as I gained seniority, I was like, cool, I need to put all these like boundaries and barriers up so that I seem professional, because that's the only way that we'll get funding. I have to, play by the rules, and no, they didn't work. And I think that getting to, be my slightly goofball self has been freeing, but also people have really resonated with that as well. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I need another Diet Coke to be more eloquent, but yeah.
No, this is great. This is what makes this the thing I keep saying about the show. This is what makes the show so much fun, where I'm having a great time. I hope people enjoy listening, because it's like, I'm having a great chat. We're having a great time. Yeah, I hope you also like it.
Yeah. Sorry. So I hope you're having fun, everyone. Listeners, have fun. Thank you.
Anna Hollinrake, games are dumb to make, tells me what to do.
Oh, I'm fucked.
GDC story. It's gonna be.
Yeah. Look, we're all making choices for saying.
No, you know what they would do?
On podcasts.
We all know that if they. Not that GDC or anybody. We all know that if they were going to write a smear piece, they would never use your name. They would say female game dev.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, with a bleached streak in her hair.
Queer woke game dev.
Yeah. I'm very surprised. Once again, I feel like saying this is tempting fate, because I know that it will the tidal wave of nasty stuff will come for me eventually. I've been very lucky that it hasn't. A lot of my friends have been hit by it, but it will hit one day, and we'll just deal with it when it happens. But yeah, I think what I've always kind of wanted to be, and I mean, obviously, everyone wants to, be successful, and piles of indie money that definitely exist, but it's not actually going to be the case at all. But I think that I really want to create kind of cult classic games, that's something that I really love, and the people that get it, like artsy kind of weird games that people really resonate with, like the people that love them really love them. That's what I really aspire to make as a creative person, and I think that has been helpful in terms of just visible but not too visible. So yeah, I've avoided the ire so far, but we'll see. That's a cheerful topic. Anyway.
what a weird thing to what a weird thing to have to say as a person just in an industry. Like, imagine if it was imagine being a lawyer and just yeah, I really just hope this guy on YouTube doesn't make everyone hate me. That's oh boy. Yeah. This next case, I don't know.
Yeah.
I hope one of the 3 like guys on YouTube doesn't make all of Twitter yell at me. That would be cool.
Yeah. That'll be real lovely, actually.
God,
for the
please.
audio listeners at home, Anna is crossing both of her fingers very hard. Yeah.
I don't know. Getting to, you know, kind of touching on what, like, you're saying, like, part of what you think has led to the success is sort of the unfiltered and kind of raw presentation of your studio, of just like, look, it's just us and we're just doing what we can. You know, not to get all high and mighty. I think a weird thing that's happening in games right now is, I mean, we just, like, so for people that are hearing this, literally yesterday in the news, EA canceled the Black Panther game that's been in development for however long and closed the entire studio, which is the latest in however many studio closures. I'm sure I could look it up and have a number and give you how many thousands of people have been put out of work this year.
Yeah, horrifying.
And I think there's a creative problem. There's an economic problem. The economic problem is all of these CEOs are super greedy and all the shareholders are super greedy and they're all assholes. But I think the creative problem is the AAA space, in the very least, has shifted to making games that they think people will give them money for. And why I think people are increasingly finding interesting stuff in the indie scene. And let me tell you, this isn't a video game. This isn't a podcast like about video games explicitly. Like, Anna's the first person we've had on that has been an indie game dev in that way. There is so much like amazing stuff we found in the indie scene. Why I think people resonated with it so much is you can point to the person who made it and you can find some example of them just being like, this is just what I wanted to make. This just seemed cool and I made it. Yeah. And, you know, and I think that's the big, like, decider, right? That's the big, I feel like that's in the way that all video games are art, because even a AAA video game represents the art and artistic effort of hundreds of, you know, dozens of people and hundreds of hours. I think it speaks so much to, like, the soul of art of, like, yeah, this is a thing that I wanted to make, that, like, a person made with their heart, you know? It's like I made this because I wanted this to exist.
Yeah, completely. And it's also just the sheer level of effort that has to go into that as well. There's so many times I've seen people say that any game that gets shipped is a miracle, because ultimately they're such strange creations. They're little computer programs that make you feel things, and like they're so odd as a medium. I adore them. But when you get to see, you know, art piece, but something that has like an idea or a drive behind it, it is very special. And I think that you're seeing this as well within things like film. Like, there's such a fatigue with you know, Marvel properties, with like big franchises, and yeah, people are still going to see them, but they're not going to see them in the same kind of scope, because there's just so much, and there's also a lot of buy-in that you have to do if you're going to understand, like, the latest you know, Star Wars offshoot or whatever. And I think that people are really resonating with weird ideas, experimental ideas, and like ideas with a very clear vision. Like, you look at how, like, Sinners has done. I still need to see it, but, like, it's killing it in terms of the box office. And like, I think that having just narrower focus on who you're trying to, like, speak to in terms of like what you're trying to create, having an audience that, you know, you want to create things for, and not trying to just make something with incredibly broad appeal. I think whenever you see a piece of work that is like, I am making a story, or like, I am making an experience, that like it is for me, but also I want to make like just a really fucking cool just piece of art that doesn't that can be specific and it can be weird. Like you look at David Lynch and his work, like it's got such a clear voice, and it's not for everyone, but it's also for the people that love it, they absolutely love it. And that kind of specificity I think feels increasingly rare. So like I think it's two things. People really want to have new ideas, like clear direction, clear kind of intent, something to say, but also and something that's new, but also like I don't know if I always entirely agree with the whole idea of like was it 1,000 fans, because where you have just where you have like 1,000 fans funding your projects, because sometimes I think it's more complicated than that. I don't know if there's this kind of blog or whatever that's like 1,000 people that support what you do, and I don't think you necessarily need to have that many, or sometimes for bigger projects you like I'm getting into the weeds with it anyway. But I think that just making stuff that you want to see and that you're excited by, and it seems really obvious when I say that out loud, but like so much stuff gets stuck in design by committee and design by metrics, and I think that we've just had such a hollowing out of the AA space, and where all of the like weird interesting stuff was. And the problem is like sometimes the weird interesting stuff is also not that good, but I'm glad that it is. Because you have lots of it, it gives you more options, and you get to have a variety of like weird and wonderful experiences. And I think with the response to things like Clair Obscur, and I mean, is it technically AAA? I don't know if it's triple, like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I think that people are looking for like games that have this specific audience, or like that are interested in something that's a bit different, that don't mind being like, don't mind not appealing to everyone, and like through that are comfortable with, I think, cutting off some of the audience, but gaining a much more dedicated just fan base. And I don't want to say the word fan base because it makes it sound like, yeah, people that just that love what they're doing. That's been really rambly, and I know you said apologize, but like, does that make yeah
well, and I think the fun of having, like you said, like a focused audience, speaking more specifically to a group, I think the fun that can bring is it can be kind of more authentic in that way. It can speak more specifically completely to that group.
Yeah,
and then
exactly. That's
well, and then what can happen is people that are not in that group can see that, right? And you have that large group of people that are like, oh yeah, like this is like, this is kind of so focused on this and is kind of is real in that way that even people who aren't in that group might be able to enjoy it because it's so authentically that story.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, with Crescent County, it's a very queer, very feminine kind of roller derby inspired video game, like, and I think that I was worried that, we'd be just like that we were kind of pushing people out if we went. Like initially I was like, oh, are people gonna want to play this? I mean, actually, like I sat with it for a while and I was like, that's the story I want to tell, that's what I want this to be. And I think that like leaning into it and just kind of like joyfully having fun in that space. It was always the goal, but there was always this like slight panic in the back of my mind being like, oh, am I going to be acceptable enough, you know? And actually, like there's tons of people that aren't sitting in that immediate kind of group that also really love it, or, you know, they sit in it to some degree, and they see their own experiences, you know, reflected in some kind of way. And I really want to do that. I want to provide that. So yeah, I completely agree. You know, that authenticity and that excitement of seeing, you know, things represented, seeing like stories that, and they don't have to be like sad or like poetic or whatever. Like they can kind of be funny and messy as well. Seeing those stories, I'm rambling, represented and people having fun with it. It's just like, oh yeah, everyone enjoy it. But like the people that are going to engage with it, that will enjoy it, will jump in.
I for one would love it if we stopped having sad queer stories. I just for a little bit. We can just take like a little break. We just take like a little break. I'm not saying just stop completely. I'm saying like let's take a little break.
Yeah. I just this is one of the things. Like I remember when I was I think submitting to a bunch of like grant applications or something, and one of the main things that I was saying is like, you know, this isn't going to be that. There aren't going to be like coming out stories, I think, or like sad coming out stories in this. I think this is, and I'm just not interested in showing that. Like it's just like it's just a bunch of interesting characters that have drama, and that's how it is, you know, and they're all complicated and they're all flawed, but they're flawed in different ways. And they also have fun and they get up to hijinks and they're interesting people, you know. That's what I hope for anyway. And I think that I just don't want to like sadly torture my characters over stuff that, you know, people that are playing the game might be having to like might be kind of getting tortured by their governments or like the people around them already. I'm just not interested in kind of putting them through the ringer twice. You know, I want to make like joyful, goofy, messy queer art, I suppose. That has conflicts, but they aren't like based around things like, you know, not being accepted or, you know, difficulties coming out.
What do the U-Hauls that lesbians use in Crescent County look like?
That's such a good question. Oh, I've designed some cars, but I should design a U-Haul. I should design a van. You're right. Yeah, that's such a good question. That's
specifically,
yeah,
they need them. Like,
yeah, they do. You're right.
I want that for them. I want them to be supported.
Yeah. No, that's because I think for a while we were like, are there cars like actual kind of motor like are they kind of alterating? Are they not alternate? Oh my god, you can tell my brain's are they customizing the cars to use? Yeah, are they customizing the cars to use like the specific kind of like broom wood and everything so that they hover? Do they use petrol? They do use petrol sometimes in the ambulances because sometimes the ley lines can go down and then nothing will work. So it's important for emergencies. But does that cover U-Hauls? We'll find out and more in the Crescent County Kickstarter.
What were sort of we mentioned Tony Hawk. What were sort of your big video game inspirations for this? Like what were the video games that you were like, it's like you know, because we have all the artistic inspirations, and that's, you know, what were the games you were like, it's like this and like this and like this?
That's a good question, because it varied a little bit. Like, we reference Mario Kart a lot because the pick up and playness of Mario Kart, and the way that people don't have a mental block with it, in the same way that they might do with like racing. It's like I did have a bit of a mental block with like racing and driving games when we were first, you know, conceptualizing this, because I play, you know, third person RPGs, and I when I have played driving games, it can often feel quite punishing. Like, I remember completely failing like the driving test portion of Driver 2 so many times, and I just had this like very clear sense that I wasn't good at them. But something like Mario Kart just slides under that mental barrier that people have. So we were thinking about like that arcadey feeling of it. And also like the fantasy of what a hoverbike motor broom would be like. And then alongside that, like, I think we were also looking at something like Hades in terms of like uptime and downtime and the rhythm of a game. Not really in terms of like the rhythm or the gameplay exactly, but you know how you know, you'll go out and you do a run and it's intense, and then you come back, and even if you've died, you get a little bit of story. It'll be a bit more chill. There's like this kind of moment, and that sense of uptime and downtime with like the day-night cycle was something we were really interested in. You know, it's kind of the opposite way around for us. Like, you've got like chilled out drives, and then you have like a race, and it's you're there's the uptime and downtime there too. And then in terms of like mood and tone, Night in the Woods and Life is Strange, in that sunset soaked, kind of dreamy but a little bit melancholy environment, with like the kind of Night in the Woods snappy dialogue, in the speech bubbles and everything, and that like coming of age melancholy that you get from Life is Strange. I'd say like the really big inspirations there. Yeah, and then like other ones have, you know, drifted in. Like, we get like Sable as a comparison quite a lot. Like, I think in terms of what we've been trying, like, it's really difficult to describe the game because like a racing / driving / delivery game, they're kind of, there's a lot of similar ones. They're coming out now. We a lot more delivery games at the moment, but like, you know, Sable is on this hover bike with an open world. So and we know the folks at Shedworks, they're absolute sweethearts, and yeah, like I remember meeting them at the Breakthrough Brit event, where I was like, that was like my year, and I think they'd just been signed, and we were both just like nerding out about each other's work. It was really, really lovely. So yeah, I think that has been like that gets referenced quite a bit, and also Dungeons of Hinterberg as well, in that kind of cozy but not. There's a lot of like cozy but not, I suppose. Dredge as well. Dredge and Dungeons of Hinterberg and Sable, I think, have a similar thing where it's like visually striking. There's moments of intensity, but like generally quite chill. And yeah, and maybe a little bit of Animal Crossing, but I think we've pulled a bit back on that now because just from the scope, I suppose.
I do feel, I'm glad you've sort of confirmed. I do feel like when there's events, when people that are at indie studios meet each other, I do feel like the first 2 minutes is just like holding hands and jumping and screaming.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, ah! Okay, we can be humans now.
Yeah. That's how it goes. That's exactly it, actually. Or you know, the other one is like, ah! It's like crying.
Just weeping. I love your game.
Yeah, definitely. like just trying to be normal and then not being, because it's like we're indie developers. There's in the best way. So yeah,
just a whole like day conference of everyone like trying to hold it together, and then at the bar later just screaming.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah.
I don't feel like enough people have played Night in the Woods. Just as a general statement, I don't feel like enough people.
I mean, I absolutely love it. Like it's such an autumnal game. I kind of have my autumn ritual things that I do, where I watch Midnight Mass, and I read The Secret History, and I think I should probably add Play Night in the Woods to that as well. So yeah, it's a game that like comes up a lot when people talk about like amazing indie games or games with great vibes or something like that. But I feel like games on lists like that don't always translate to people taking that, people like running with lists like that, you know? Like I think people make those lists and they work hard on those lists, but then I feel like people don't take those lists and then go like, well, all right, that's 5 games I'm going to play. Here we go. Let's. Yeah, I think there's probably like there's probably a good bunch of games out there that are like just definitive indie tastemakers, and I definitely would say Night in the Woods is one of them. Like you can see, just it's fascinating to watch, right? Like there's like this game, and then there's like all of these little branches of influences that you can see. I mean, yeah, like the prevalence of speech bubbles that kind of come directly out of the character. We've got that. And I'm like, that's because I like it so much in Night in the Woods.
Walking in the meeting room.
That's how the medium grows.
Speech bubbles.
Know? Yeah.
That's what we're doing today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, it is always interesting to see when a game gets really popular, to then watch games come out that are clearly inspired by it, in a way that like I think like it's weird that it doesn't feel weird, you know. It's weird that it doesn't feel like, oh, they just ripped off this game, and like, hey, sometimes it does, but you can vibe those games real quick. But you know, like, so you mentioned like, yeah, there's not a lot of delivery games to like talk to people. It's like, well, now there are.
There absolutely are. Yeah. It's so interesting. I just feel like it very often, I think a bunch of people will see a space in that is currently not, you know, being explored in the industry, or there'll be a piece of media that starts getting really popular and people are like, oh, wouldn't it be interesting? And I think, you know, with like influence on games, like it wasn't nearly as much back in like 2016, 2017, and then everyone being like, Kiki's delivery service, and obviously, you know, they were very popular already, but like they've really been cemented within that online culture over the past 10 years. And I think that people will look at that, and especially now that we're getting like 90s and noughties anime revival and everything, I think people are looking to projects like that, and they're being like, well, wouldn't that be cool if we mash those two things up? And also, you know, the nature of influencing art, because you've got couriering becoming such a thing. Like, would these games exist if there hadn't been the combination of lockdowns and a huge amount of like couriering just increasing in terms of how frequently people used it, and also the amount of funding available for games in that kind of like 2-year period. So I think we're really kind of seeing the results of those projects coming out now. So yeah, I guess we'll find out what the past 2 years in terms of cultural changes will influence upcoming games in the future. Yeah.
It's interesting that
that's my philosophy for the day.
It's always interesting. I always mark it up like whenever I see like 3 or 4 games come out that have maybe not like similar ideas, but similar like how for a little bit everybody was doing a photo taking game. I always ratchet up to just like, oh, and this is the funny one, right? As a person who doesn't know anything about the industry at all, I always go like, oh, I wonder what feature someone added to Unity, or what Unreal plugin did someone make? Yeah. You know, or someone did a GDC talk on some piece of tech that everybody went, you know what we got to do. And then that's why we have, you know.
I think that makes perfect sense as well, because there's so much that can be done. That's why we went with an open world, you know, because Unreal 5 got world partition, and that means that you can set up open worlds with vastly less complexity, and I think that we'll probably definitely see more of that as time goes on, but I think just culturally it happens with movies as well. Like movies will come out and there'll be some very, very similar ones, but like it's just kind of a product of the zeitgeist, I suppose, and also just the industry's not that big. Like people like sharing and chatting and collaborating all the time. So I think it's fun.
It's interesting. Like I said, you can always tell the games that are rip-off games, and no one talks about those games.
No, because it's so clear. But
a friend of mine did game dev in school, and so we have a lot of chat about game dev stuff. And I people are so weird about games online. Well, I could shorten that sentence. People are weird. But specifically, people are weird about games online where, like, you know, like you mentioned at the front where you were worried that like people were like, oh, we think we're so big, you know, and have all this money and stuff. Like, I don't know what people think games are in a weird, you know, and I feel like there's, you know, we made a joke about it. I feel like there's a cottage industry of people that are like interested in like misaligning what people think games are, like intentionally.
I would agree, and I also think that communicating how games work is really difficult, and it's very technical and often not super interesting or easily digestible. But also, I think people are very cagey to share works in progress. It's a problem on both sides, you know, because everyone's been stung, and like being open about what you're hoping to make, your development process, it can be confusing. And if you show something that's a work in progress, and then, you know, if that gets cut because you don't have time to make it, then people might be frustrated and disappointed. But also, if you're not communicating how these things work, then can you like really, you know, blame people for being unsure? But then on the flip side, you're completely right. People are, you know, misrepresenting the complexity of game production and the ways that it happens. You know, I saw a post on Blue Sky today that was saying, you know, it's very easy to say, oh, you should have just like worked on this game design better. And their examples are, I don't know, like Final Fantasy and Portal. And it's like, you know, you've got games with unlimited budgets, and, you know, Valve, you know, once again, unlimited budgets, like games with endless iteration time, and that's just not the reality for almost all developers. And you have to, you know, make difficult artistic decisions and difficult design decisions constantly, and trying to communicate that it's very difficult. And not that interesting sometimes. Like, it can be interesting, but it takes a lot of effort to communicate it well. And when you're like really up against it, that can be hard too. I personally want to be quite open about it because I'm not capable of shutting up. But
it makes the rambling easier because you're like, it's intentional. This is what I want to be doing.
Yeah, exactly. just keep yapping. But yeah, so I think, like I would rather be open about things. It works best for me when I'm open about things. And yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I love it. It's why I think you mentioned like AA games. I miss that space. You know, I miss the space where you had developers, and they still exist. They still exist, and it's one of those like looking backwards things where you can really only kind of see it in the rear view once you can kind of, put timelines and stuff together. But there used to be a lot of game studios that existed that would just be, that would just contract to publishers for whatever. And now the way it works, majorly, sadly, is that they're just owned wholly. And it's, I don't know. Games are weird. I never want to try to talk like I know fucking anything about anything and be like, well, the problem with games these days, it's like, no, the problem with hey, listen, hot take. The problem with these games these days is we stopped having fucking fixed camera angles and tank controls. That's what I say. No one wants to hear. No one wants to hear the truth. Yeah. You know who has fixed camera angles? Clear Obscure. The game everybody loves, fixed camera angles. They know what's up.
Yeah. Also, sorry, we're closed. They love a fixed camera angle.
Oh my God.
That game is stunning.
That game was so
cool.
good.
Talk about clarity of intent.
That game was so good.
Yeah. But I think something that we just really need more of is like AA games and the knowledge that they end. They I can't remember who said it. I mean, it's not quite the same situation. Was it the guy who headed up Helldivers? I'm not sure, but someone was like, you play the game for a bit and then you're done. And just having games that just you play them and you have your experience and then it's finished. And that seems obvious when I say it, and that absolutely exists for something like indie. But when you get to that, we've lost a lot of the single player like focused experience games on like a higher budget. And once again, I'm just repeating what every single think piece for the past 3 years has been saying. But yeah.
It's why it drives me nuts when people talk about concurrent player counts for single player games. It's like, oh, the player numbers for I think it was like Black Myth Wukong or something. They were like the player counts have dropped 80% in the last 3 hours. And if you look, it's like, oh, it's when all the people who were playing in China went to bed.
Yeah.
And like, that's what, number one, it doesn't matter. Number two, they went to sleep.
Yeah.
It's fine.
People, I think, are far too eager to call a game dead. And I'm like, hopefully, as long as it is hosted, people can keep playing it, for a very long period of time. More people can join. I don't know. Yeah, it's obviously, it's a different case when it's like the business of games and sales and blah blah blah. But I just think it's just a bit sad to just reference games in terms of concurrent player counts, because I don't think it's the best way of judging generally. Oh,
this game has 5 million players. It must be good. It's Roblox, so no. And games can serve very different purposes as well. And games are weird.
I think. Yes, they are. And that's why we love them.
Do you feel annoyed that there's so many delivery games now? This is the thing I've always wanted to ask somebody. When their game comes out that they've been working on for years, and it's like, oh, we're making this thing that's like not that like you have a unique idea. The thing I love to say, there's nothing new under the sun. There's just new versions. In the way that you're like, yeah, we have something that's kind of different, and then you're like, okay, we're ready to go. Here's our game, and there's 2 more games that are very similar. Do you ever feel just like, come on, guys, come on?
I think I would be more I'm not bothered by that because I think it just gives us the language to describe the game that we're making. Because previously that didn't necessarily exist in like the cultural lexicon quite as much. Like I think it acts really well as just a way of describing a new genre, really. So I think that's only like positive for everyone. I feel like I've been raised in that image that's like someone looking at the cakes, these cakes, and they're like, oh, the other person's cake is bigger than mine, and then it's like, audience, holy shit, 2 cakes. And like I think that there being a veritable buffet of cakes of delivery games to choose from is great. I would be far more bothered if someone was doing like a motor broom game. I would be like,
you're scrolling through TikTok one day and someone is like, so I saw this art at Comic-Con in 2018 and it really inspired me, so here's my game.
I've had people reach out and be like, oh, I'm thinking of doing that, and I'm just like, excuse me. Like, thankfully it's not appeared, but like that is a bit of a fear. Like every once in a while I'll find out like, oh, your art was on our mood board, and I'm like, cool, that's cool. But yeah, so far not so much. But also it's like, it's such a weird mashup of gameplay as well. It's not just delivery games, there's racing and there's kind of romance aspects, and yeah, so I think it's pretty unique in the way it looks as well. So I think it's all right.
It would be really funny. You're like at PAX and you're like, here's my witch broom racing romance game, it's really fun, and then you just like go down the line, here's my broom racing witch romance game, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Hang on.
And then I'm like, show me your pen track.
Yeah, what are your design documents? What do you got? What's your
yeah.
So that's a great segue on the Kickstarter, because I had to pull it up because I wanted to see what your stretch goals are. Because I got curious because I'm a nosy Nancy. The stretch goal that you're currently working on is longer dates, more kissing. And I want to know everything about that. I want to know everything about what that means.
So like it doesn't sound very glamorous when you kind of break it down. It's like, we'll be able to have more animations for romances, and also that sounds kind of lewd when I put it like that as well.
I was like, well, that's all right.
Or like, something that I really want is, the ability to give people a ride on the back of your broom, like a nice kind of romance scene setting. So things like that, like basically having dates that have, more custom animations, and locations that I think are better, more scenic, because filling out an open world takes time, and being able to create more custom settings for those dates, for those moments, little unique kind of things happening is really lovely. And also, there are like there's 4 romances that you can do, and like we want them to be expanded. We want them to be as rich as possible, and that gives us more kind of capacity to flesh them out, have more interactions, like really expand on that. It's not like a particularly exciting answer. I'm just like, there's just more dev capacity to like put into that, really.
Animations cost money, and I need money.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
for the animations.
Yeah, and like scenes, like 3D art, like writing, music, right? Just making them have more emotional weight, really. And being able to being able to spend a bit more time on them, because I have been a long-term committed member of the Dragon Age fandom, and like those romances, like I'm such a believer in, and I like obviously love Baldur's Gate 3. I'm such a believer in having like really robust, like emotional romances in a game that isn't necessarily just purely about that. I think I just think it's really Moorish, and I love it. And yeah, so I really want to put as much of that as possible within Crescent County.
So we're getting to the end. Anna, first of all, before we get too deep in it, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. I always love.
So this is so much fun.
I always love. It's every single interview. I said this already. Every single interview is such a treat. I love when I love when people have a good time. Like, it means so much that people are having a good time being on my silly little show. Like, it's exciting.
It's been great. It's been such a fun chat, and thank you for letting me ramble about Crescent County and all of my stupid opinions.
Listen, who am I to judge? Who am I to judge?
Look, the hot takes on what you're doing.
I do try to get. I haven't asked anyone explicitly. Actually, here we go. This is where we're gonna start. Anna, what's your big indie game or indie game dev hot take?
Oh God, what is my big indie dev hot take? Oh,
it can be either. It does, my
big indie game.
Do you secretly hate Balatro?
I don't hate Balatro. I do enjoy it quite a lot. Oh no. It's like when someone asks you what you got for Christmas and you're just like drawing a complete blank. I have like some, but they're too spicy. They're too
they're too spicy.
Like
I do get those takes where you're like, I can't say this. This only makes sense to me.
Like it's very specific to my indie my game dev hot take is I don't think agile works, and no one's gonna find that interesting.
I'm agile trained. I probably don't disagree with you. I probably wouldn't disagree with you.
I've just done it like a bunch of times, and I've been sat around waiting for things to be done in ways, and I bring back that's my take. Like, let's just plan things in order and then execute them in order. I'm so tired of sprints.
Let's just do the thing. It's fine. We can just do it.
That's I'm like, I'm just pissing off all the producers right now. It's too spicy. It's too spicy.
All the game dev producers that listen to this podcast, they just threw their headset across the room.
Yeah, and then it's like, absolutely not. How dare you come for me and my scrum?
How dare you insult my scrum? My Monday morning stand-up is...
Look, I was briefly an assistant scrum master. Did I know what I was doing? No. But boy howdy, I stood with confidence in that circle.
I had that binder. It was so important.
Yeah. That's my spicy hot take.
That's so funny. I love that. That's so good. But I might start doing that now. That's very funny. But before we get to the end, before we close, we got to get to homework. So
yes, I have my homework right here in my. Once again, it's a visual medium, but look how nice my book is.
I love it.
Yes. Shall I rattle off my homework, because I have 4.
Oh, 4. Yeah, please. Let's get to it.
All right. So homework, things for people to check out. Number 1, Trash Goblin. It's a game that is live on Steam right now. And it's made by some of my friends, lovely studio called Spilt Milk. And in Trash Goblin, you are polishing up, you're creating trinkets in your little shop, you're making them out of trash, and you need to make stuff for people, and it's really cute, and the art style is lovely, and you should play it. It also has a motor broom trinket in it because I backed it on Kickstarter. So
that's cute.
Yeah, shout out. The second homework that you should check out is Lady Gaga's Coachella performance. My God, it's fucking incredible. I've watched it about 7 times. I had some friends over, and I have like the world's shittest projector. And it was for Easter, and we were like, we're going to make an Easter roast. And we got our timings wrong, so it was like midnight when we ate the roast lamb. But like we were projecting the Lady Gaga Coachella performance on the wall, listening to it through like the terrible speakers, and everyone was like hypnotized. It's such a phenomenal theatric performance, and like just a mastery of like very earnest craft, like incredible craft and music and costuming and dance, and so would recommend. Homework is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It's consumed me. It's a medieval RPG with some survival elements, but has the most likable protagonist I've ever played in a video game. It's a very strange game in that it's like just willfully obtuse sometimes, but it's also amazing. Like you have to drink schnapps to save the game, which you have to make yourself. Like it's awkward, but it's enjoyably awkward. And it also has what I would say is one of the best romances I have ever seen in a game. And it's like it's so impressive. I love it, and very, very funny. And final homework is Pink Pantheress's mixtape, Fancy That. Pink Pantheress is a musician who is from London, and she has just released this mixtape that's very like noughties inspired. Like it really nails all of those references. Like there's Sugar Babes in there. There's all of these like just super quick cut together tracks that just like good brain feeling. And they're really fun, and her styling on it has been phenomenal. It's all like red plaid, and it just nails the vibe of the time, while still feeling like kind of fresh and fun. So I would absolutely recommend giving that a listen, because it's really, really fun. So that's Pink Pantheress, Fancy That. And those are my homeworks.
I need a graphic. Like I need a like in similar conversation about mixtapes, have you heard All Day by Girl Talk?
No, I haven't. I should write that down.
Yeah, that's a very similar I hesitate. I don't know if I would call it a mixtape or like a sample supercut, because it's like it's songs, but it'll be like it's like a remix mixtape where like it'll be the song, and then they'll in the middle there'll just be a chorus for another song, and then we're back to it. Yeah.
I love it. I love anything that's kind of like I'm very inspired by like music. Music's such a fundamental kind of thing for me, and it's like really the only way I can get things to work in my brain if it's set to music. So I shall give that a listen. Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah, no problem. And then before we go, we have the 3 question, the final question. This I asked the end of the first episode. I asked my first guest, the Amazing Star, what her top 3 guests on her actual play show would be. And so I ask every guest their top 3 something that I come up with through the course of the episode. And it's just a fun, silly way to end the episode that does in the way that none of the rest of the show has been silly. This is the place we're allowed to be silly.
Yeah,
it's
been very serious, actually.
Yeah, very, very serious.
None at all.
Thoughtful, straightforward questions. This is where we're allowed to be silly. Anna, what are your 3 favorite witches in media?
Ooh, my 3 favorite witches in media. That is a really good question.
It also doesn't have to be 3 if you're stressed.
Obviously, one of them is got to be Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. Then.
See, again, in the joke we keep making,
isn't a witch.
This is where I should have rolled out the TV behind me, and it would have been severely zoomed in screenshots of witches from various shows and movies.
For sure, absolutely. So Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. You know what? What's the Jenna Ortega in Sabrina Carpenter's Taste video? Because they're both giving witch. They're both giving like kind of witch edit. They get like they get the what's it called, the dolls out and they're like stabbing. They're doing spells on each other. So I'm going to say for number 2, it's them in that music video because it's such a banger of a music video. And then for number 3, I hope you can edit out these really long pauses because I'm really bad at thinking on the spot for this kind of thing.
I mean, I won't edit that out because you started talking about how embarrassed it is with all of your pauses, but
that's true. Yeah. Oh God. I was gonna say Morticia Addams, but she's not really a witch. She's just spooky.
Well, she's just spooky enough. Her mother's a witch.
Oh, okay, they are. Yeah, that's true. She's inherited it. But I'm gonna say maybe the girls from Charmed.
That's a good one.
Also, yeah,
it's a good one.
Yeah. Shall I? I'll go for that. I've got a grand total of 6 witches. Like 5 witches. Anyway, let's go for that. But yeah, just a host
and actually 7 because there were 4 Charm sisters.
Oh fuck!
Push my glasses up.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but yeah.
I'm sorry to Shannon Doherty.
Completely failing to do any kind of basic maths right now. Yeah. I feel like I need better answers. Like my brain's gone completely blank.
That's the joy. That's why I don't tell y'all about it. It's
no, I know. I'm looking around at stuff, being like, I'm just so bad at like my brain pulling stuff to the surface. It's like, I don't know if you have this where it's like I can't dive for information. My brain just kind of flows from one point to the next for information. Actually, I need to draw specific information out of the ground. I'm like, I've never remembered anything in my life.
What's your favorite witches in media? I've never seen a movie. I don't know.
Basically that.
I don't.
Completely. Because I'm like, there's kind of like, a bunch of witchy vibes and stuff. But like Morrigan, oh my God, she's a witch.
She's a witch.
Like, yeah, I take back the Charm sisters. Fucking Morrigan. There we go.
Kick them out.
Yeah, all 4 of them.
Yeah.
I was like, there are 3, right? I was like, no, there are 4. But yeah, I'll go for Morrigan.
That's it. Listen,
she's really hot.
There's no wrong answers. There's no wrong answers.
No, I need to get a good grade in witch naming actually. So yeah.
It's just gonna be a bunch of comments like, "What a fake witch fan." You even
I would like good witch answers. My brain. Regretfully, I've said too many words, and now there's no more words left.
I'm really sorry to have cursed you with this because you're gonna wake up in like 7 hours and you're gonna be like, oh, I have it.
I've got like 12 witches.
I know every witch.
yeah, every witch that has ever been. Yeah, that's going to be how it goes. That's going to be how it goes.
Yeah,
I feel like
sorry.
there's always some kind of aspect of just like post-pod panic, where you're like, did I just come across as like a maniac? Like, what did I say? Like, I kind of just glaze over, and like a strange energy takes over my body, and then like I just start yelling, and then God knows. So yeah, was I coherent? No, and yet.
It's not any better on this side, let me tell you. It's not.
Yeah.
My concern is that when the guests are talking, I'm not just sitting here like.
Yeah. No, I didn't get that. I didn't get that vibe at all. No, this has been a lovely and energetic chat. So yeah, I've had a lovely time.
Thank you. It's always wonderful to hear. It's so nice. People thank me for being on the show. It feels weird.
Thank you for being here, actually. Otherwise, it would have just been me speaking to recording Alistair. So alone and sad. So
oh, this has been a treat. As I we could do this for hours, but sadly we cannot.
Nah, I regretfully have to make I have to do a TikTok edit. she said, looking
the sadness, the deep sadness in your voice.
It's just like, it's such a it's not high risk, but it's like high energy, usually low reward. Like I've done one video that was for TikTok that ended up doing really well on Blue Sky and really helped getting the word out about the game. I'm too esoteric. Like, my jokes are niche, and I don't think resonate with a very broad audience a lot of the time. Like, I just made one that I find very funny, but it's based around F1, and because I've started doing like a racing game, I've accidentally gotten into F1, and so I'm like he F1 references, and not that many people are like, haha, that's a funny joke, Anna. They're like fusing, and I don't understand why you're posting it. And yeah, so I need to, but sometimes they do well, but a lot of the time I'm just like, hello, it's me and my 300 views, so yeah.
I get that. I haven't made a new TikTok in months, so I'm with you.
Yeah, well, I've got a green screen now. I've got no fucking excuse. So yeah, so that's me.
so that's the podcast.
Yeah. Anna staggers off to do more fucking Premiere Pro editing with her microphone that rattles slightly. So yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
No, but we persevere.
Like I said, you can find all the links to everything in the show notes. Please go back to the game on Kickstarter. Go look at it. But definitely back it. Definitely look at it.
Demo.
Play the demo.
Yeah.
Wishlist it on Steam. Tell everybody about how cool you think it is. Share it on social media. The big thing that I'm telling people to do in the podcast, the reason we have homework is voices of fans of a thing, voices of people on social media carry so much weight. Part of my thinking behind people are tuning out advertisement is people are not responding to people when they're talking about the things that they make, which is bad. But I also think it is such a big deal when people are like, I saw this thing that this person made and I like it, and here it is. So please do that.
It's why you do. It's why you do what you do. It's why, like having people resonate with your work. It's one of the, best feelings. Like when people get it. Yeah,
so
completely.
Go play the demo. If you like it, wishlist it, share it, check out the Kickstarter. watch Lady Gaga do all the stuff.
Yes, please. You know, underdiscovered artist Lady Gaga.
Yeah, you know, no one's heard of Lady Gaga, so go check her out.
It's really inspiring. It's so good. It's so good. Like, I was just like, I got quite emotional in like multiple segments of it because I was like, fucking hell, like the amount of, anyway, this is beside the point. But yes, please check out Crescent County on Kickstarter. You can get a bunch of merch as well. There's pins, there's hats, there's stickers, there's a motor broom zine that's like a physical little art book that you can hold in your hands. You can also get a digital deluxe. You can get the game for £20, which I think is about $25 or $26. The exchange rate is all over the shop, but you can support art.
It's $27.
$27. And yeah, the video games is good.
Video games, yay.
Yeah.
But that's where we're gonna have to leave it. Go ahead, say bye, everybody.
But wait, is that to me? Or to other people?
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Thank you.
And all right, that's the interview. Thank you so much for listening. I want to, as always, thank Anna again so much for her time. It always means so much when people make time to sit down, to chat with me, to chat about what they're doing, to make time for the podcast. It's always so incredible. As we said, Crescent County is live now for just a little bit longer on Kickstarter. So if you're hearing this, if you see this, please go back it as quickly as possible. This is absolutely one of those occasions where funding this Kickstarter helps make someone's dreams come true. And that is so amazing. As always, links to Kickstarter will be in the description. You can go check out the Kickstarter, Electric Saint Studios website. You can check out Anna's Blue Sky page, TikTok, all that stuff. She works so hard on those TikToks, y'all. Go enjoy them. I mentioned I had some updates for you. The first is a little bit of an update to the Patreon. I've added 10 early bird supporter tiers at $3. Basically, if you want to get in a little early and get whatever benefits end up coming out on the Patreon, that's a great early bird tier. It's a little cheaper. And it is limited to 10 spots. So if you want to get one of those, you better get it fast. If you haven't seen over at the Patreon, I've uploaded the first little behind the scenes clip. I think if there's any silly outtakes from the interviews that would make sense to put up there, that's where those are going to go. Just little silly extra side things that I'll just edit up, nice and put up there for y'all. And that'll just be on the Patreon. The first Patreon Q&A thread should be up by Monday. So if you're a member, you can go check that out. If you're not a member, you can go to the Patreon. You can sign up now. I will be revealing the guest through the thread because obviously I want people to know. And I figure it's a great way to entice people to sign up if they haven't already. This won't be for the next guest who I'm interviewing literally tomorrow, but my next one who I've already kind of decided, the incredible Darling Demon Eclipse. And the second is that I'm going to open the ability for y'all to submit questions when I have a guest scheduled. So when I know that I'm going to talk to somebody, I'm just going to make a little thread on the Patreon, and anybody who is a Patreon supporter will be able to drop their questions for that guest, whatever they want to ask, and we'll start making a little space for Q&A. I also have another little idea that I'm still workshopping. I don't know. Sometimes half of the time with these ideas is I just have to sit down and think about how I want to do it, and then I'll figure it out. So I have another idea. Maybe, the next couple episodes you'll hear about it. As always, I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending your time listening to me, listening to the guest. I always appreciate it. It means so much that people have been enjoying my silly little project. I especially want to thank, as always, Tony over at Plus One EXP for being absolutely amazing. Tony is a fantastic person. And besides that, he runs Plus One EXP, which is a company all about helping indie developers get their stuff published, get their stuff in front of people, and get those games in your hands. And on that note, he was so gracious. He gave us a discount code for the Plus One EXP shop. If you go to plusoneexp.com, you can use the discount code WD Podcast. You can find all this in the description as well to get 10% off any physical or digital purchase, or 10% off your first month of your Zine Club membership, which I highly, highly recommend. They have a great landing page for queer designers that they've worked with, so go check that out. I already took a look. There's some very interesting looking games. I might pick myself up a little something, but you should definitely go by plus1exp.com. Again, the discount code is WDPodcast, 10% off any physical or digital order, or your first month of your Zine Club membership. This episode's already late as it is. Let me go finish it up, and I'll see you in the next one.